Well, hi. We're gonna have fun here tonight. It's late in the evening, and I got to work this in. It's Sunday evening, late. I got to do this on my own time. This one repair. I'm doing this for my homeboy, my rest in peace, Mr. Fred. No, we're not talking about RC cars today. I just happened to be working on this one earlier, and because once again it's Sunday, it's my time. It's my time. And I was using the space for something else. Let me come over here and grab a couple different things here. I want to show you guys what we're working on. I've had this puppy for a long time. A long time. This, yeah. Okay. So, two things. My friend, fence post, Fred Tilton, was like the OG of the OG of the OG of amps that I built. This is it. This is what I consider to be amplifier number one. I built this amp. This is the first one that I ever did, like a complete copper board deal on. I'll do a whole YouTube video on this because I'm going to restore this box. I was a little afraid this was going to get lost. My friend Fred was a truck driver, and he lived his whole life in his truck. And he drove truck and drove a lot of truck. And he did a lot of heavy equipment, a lot of tanks, and a lot of big heavy stuff. Of course, you know, he drove dry van, and you know, he'd done everything as far as truck driving went. Well, Fred come to me as my very first like legit paying customer when I was out on my own. And he says, man, I believe in you. I want you to build me an amplifier. Here's my Texas Star 1200. And I want you to do your nasty to it. So I took and gutted this box. And he had this friend named Mr. J. And Mr. J, I got to know of this guy through Fred. And when Fred passed, I contacted his daughter and said, "Hey, I got some money here for you," because I did the one amp build for him, the memorial build for him, and well, I took that money, I sent it to her. She answered my phone calls when I give her money. I'll say that much. And the only thing I said is, "Hey, can you do me a favor and go down and take this amp out of your dad's semi and send it to me?" She goes, "Oh yeah, send me a check." So money came, money went, and a year like went by, and Miss Jade contacted me. He goes, "Man, because I need to get an amp repaired." And I said, "Cool, can you do me a favor?" Because they live in the same town. "Can you go over there and get Fred's amp and send it to me, please?" He's like, "Sure, I'm on it." So he ran right over, lickety split, Johnny on the spot. And I said, "Dude, I'll even pay for all the shipping. I'll pay for everything. Send out both boxes. I'll throw in the repair for free. Dude, send me the amp." He's like, "Got it, on it." Goes over, gets the amp, says he's got it, takes pictures of it. This thing is disgusting, by the way. They're like, I'm stripping this puppy down, and this is going in like the dishwasher, the heat sink. It is gross. And so he sent it over here, and this thing is horrible. So this is an original OG brand new Texas Star 12 gauge DX 1200 faceplate that'll eventually find its way onto here. Have these two things stored together, not like the other. Of course, then you've got this other rarer than rare unicorn horn here. This is what they call the Pinball Wizard. Texas Star Pinball, 1.2 kW. This is two of these boxes tied together like that. Literally, like, dink. I have sequential faceplates. Yes, I do. Them are that's money right there. What's that worth in the price of tea in China? I don't know, but I just think it's cool. I called those guys a Galaxy back when we were talking before they started doing all the hinky shit with the transistors, and they were kind enough to sell me a couple faceplates, and they came in sequential numbers. Anyhow, that's not why we're here. We're here for this. This is my part of the agreement. And I feel cool because I'm finally able to get down to doing this, but I got to do it on my own time, right? In here is what I call a 2-pill and some wire. Because I think about it from what I've got to do, my perspective I've got to do. If it is burned up, let's see if we can determine which side to... Yeah. There we go. Don't want to go too deep because we don't want to scratch his powder coat on this incredibly high dollar amplifier. I say that in jest because it's a Palomar. And I mean, nothing against Palomar, it's just their truck stop amplifiers. But nothing against Palomar. I ran one for a long time myself. I had a Palomar, had one driving 4, it was like a Palomar TX800 that had Toshibas in it and modified the snot out of it. Ran it in the back of my Mazda. Used to have a little Mazda pickup. Loved that truck. Ran it till the motor blew up. It's a Palomar Elite 250. Oh, look, the fuse holder fell apart. It's all right. We're not going to reuse that anyhow. We'll just take the fuse and file it in the F-it bucket bin. The worst this could be would be a burned up relay. The best that this could be is that it works. Usually what this takes is a transistor or two. Let's say X-mit here. It'll take a transistor or two and some upgraded power wire. Hence the term. And where's my Phillips bit? There it is. Hence the term, 2 transistors and some wire. That's all this takes. Did y'all see that? I should have a hole in my hand. But I don't. Skin like leather. Although my hands are getting really soft. Calluses are starting to go away now that I'm not out there slinging chains every day, pulling stuff out of ditches. Picking up broke shit and moving it from A to B. Oh, stripped. Oh, stripped. Oh, so stripped. Yeah, it's like so stripped I can like take it out with my fingers. Wow, that's bad. Okay. So Mr. G here called me and says, man, how much longer is it going to take for you to fix that son of a bitch? You've had it now for almost a year. It's about a month ago. And I said, dude, I'm on it. People don't get it. I got what I'm doing over here, like planned out for the next 3 weeks. So if I decide I'm going to do something, I got to do it 3 weeks from now. And he's not getting it. It's okay. People don't get it. It's okay. You don't get it. I don't see any burnt 10 ohm smokers inside of this thing. This has got SRF 3749s in it. And one of the pills has obviously been out. The protection diode has been cut. Let's get in here. Anyhow, the point is I'm grateful that this guy was willing to pick up my buddy's amp and send it back to me. I've heard all about this guy. I know everything about this dude. Everything about him, because Fred loved to talk. Old corn squeezing Freds. I gave him some moonshine one time. I sat there and I watched him, and he got so drunk he was sitting in the corner talking. Me and my wife were laughing our asses off at him. diode has been cut, as we can obviously all see. Check it out. El Chape. So this transistor's obviously been out. I bet you $1 it's blown, which is no big deal. We'll just put some HGs in it and we'll probably make it do the best that it can do. It really helps some shit if they take a couple windings out of this. It'd really help its resonant pattern, but I'm not gonna worry too much about that. We'll get her up and running, and we'll take care of them here. So let's go over here and we'll set up our L meters. Turn the key down on our radio. We're booting. We gotta wait for the L FLIR, because the whole idea is we're not gonna key it and be like, oh hell, oh, modulation audio got down. The idea is that we're just gonna key it real quick and we're gonna see what we've got going on for heat. I have a feeling that transistor is going to work and that one's twisted. God, Palomar made a ton of these. And the original guys that are building these are just, I'm sure, just rolling over going, God, I can't believe people are still using them. Well, it is what it is. Okay, so I'll turn it to thermal. So now what we're going to be looking for, see all this, what you'd think is hot? Nope. That is reflection from the lights above. Okay. So, yeah, that's something. LEDs come on. Let's see if we can talk through the box. Let's come up here and take a look. So, we got our 1000 watt slug and peak, 1000 and average, 5 watt slug and reverse. We're on 12 volts, by the way, and we're running it off alligator clips. Hello. So 20 watts looks like going in. So, hello, doesn't even key up. And preamp don't work. Oh, you got a lot of problems. Okay. Hello, 1, 2. Pass-through tune's not too bad. This one transistor down here has been circled. Oh, and it's been ripped out. Why? What the hell is going on here? Look at this. What the hell's going on there? I think we should disconnect the power from this thing. And I have a feeling that we're going to be ripping this thing all the way down, which means take out 2 screws and 4 screws and 2 more screws. Let's take it apart. Let's see what we find underneath it. So this is interesting to me. The reason this box doesn't work is because whoever worked on it before didn't have a clue what they were doing with the soldering iron. So I already showed you this blob of shit hanging out over here. It says blob of shit. Well, that blob of shit actually goes to another blob of shit, which is called a trace. And on the other side of that trace, it hooks out, comes around, and it goes over to this other thing called an on-off switch. The 12 volt comes in, 12 volt goes out. So please note that blob of shit is shorted to the board. Well, we flip the amp over. Somebody's obviously been in here and they really didn't know what they were doing with the soldering iron. Hence the reason all of these traces are effed off. All of that's ripped off and ruined. I mean, it's all ripped off, but the main thing we need to look at is right here. We have what they call the smoke has come forth and free. See this trace here? See this trace here? Effed off. Okay. 12 volt comes up and then it comes through this trace and it comes across, it goes through the trace, and that old blob of shit that we see hanging up is attached to that through board trace. But then we have to ask ourselves what goes here and what goes there. Now this relay has been out. It says void OID, VOI, IOD, void. They've got this transistor circled. This is the one that drives our preamp. This one here, this is our keying transistor. But it makes sense to me now when I'm turning the amp on and the preamp light's not coming on. Everything's shorted out down there. God, I hate to do this, but I have a feeling that that relay, which looks like it's been in and out a couple times by somebody that had no clue what they were doing with a soldering iron, it's got to come out. God, it sucks. See, right about now, we'd be asking ourselves, is this worth sinking this much money into repairing it? And the answer to that question is no. This is not something that we'd stick a ton of time into. But because it's for my friend Fred, we'll put the time in for this. Otherwise, I'd be like, no, dude, I'd just send this box back. I'd be like, this is not worth us getting a bunch of time wrapped up into, because my time is going to cost more than what this thing is worth by a mile. Even when this is done, even if I put a BBI sticker on the lid, it's still a $100 box. Facts. Facts. Boy, there's part of me that just wants to lazy this and go ahead and trim that pile of shmoo off of there. Repair the trace and see if this whole thing works. I doubt it. There's so much stuff ripped up underneath here. This thing has been apart 3 or 4 times. All the solder work here is a different color. All of these traces are literally effed off. This trace here, I don't know who repaired this, but he must have been blind. All the traces on this side of the board for the transistor are missing completely. Like, they didn't have the right desoldering equipment and they just ripped it off. Man. Okay, let me fire up some soldering irons. Let's take some shit apart and let's figure out what we got to do here. A little bit of hot air and this thing came right out. This relay's got OID on it. I have no fucking clue. I don't know. It's working. So I was right. This burned up trace comes through, passes through this via trace right here, crosses across and goes through. This transistor up here in the front, which I said was a key-in transistor, I was wrong. That is the preamp transistor. It is out and it's over here. It is tested and it tested fine. The main thing is whoever worked on this last was a dill hole. Why? Why would you leave that on there? Just cut that off. And here's another one right here. So this is a component that was in here at one point or another that has been effed off and never got replaced. It went from here to here. Well, where's this trace go? Oh, over to the key-in transistor. Imagine that. So there was something that went from here to here. I bet you it's a resistor. What? No, what? It's a resistor or a diode that went from here to here. And if memory serves me, it's a diode. Yeah. And the band gonna go that way. Sons of a gun. Just a hack butch job. You know what? Here, I'm just gonna just get rid of that stuff so it's not hitting me in the belly anymore. Why would you not just repair that? So here's your circuit for your keying, and this is going to be a ground switch. Okay, it's a 2N222, an NPN, negative positive negative transistor, so it's going to switch on negative. This is its protection diode for the relay. Protection diode went bad and it cut the freaking protection diode leg and then folded it over and burned everything up. Okay, so this gets to go back in. Preamp transistor gets to go back in. I am going to get out the solder sucker and suck that out and suck that out, and we'll fix this. And then we'll put it back together, and then we might actually have some keying action going on as long as this transistor is not popped. But if that diode's bad, I have a feeling that that transistor might be titty bitties. Just so you know, for the record, this is a hack repair, and that's what a real repair looks like. Just saying. Now, do I need to actually clean the board to make it work? No. Will it help it do any more watts? No. Is it what you do because you actually care what you do for a living? Yes. Does it make it look all nice and pretty and clean and shiny and doesn't give anybody any shit to talk? Yes. Am I doing it for some of those reasons? Some. Some of this isn't going to come off because it's just burned. There's burn on the board from the knick-knack paddywhack hack job bones that have come before me. But okay. Just dribbling in the rain. Penal dribbling in the rain. All right. Now, I'm very interested to see if one, if it's going to key up, two, the preamp's going to come back to life, and three, which transistor is popped. So, let's take the same paper towel and flip it over. Let's give it a try. Contrary to popular belief, we do not need to have this on the heatsink as long as we don't modulate. I don't know why that diode is popped. Stop. Hold on. Pump brakes. Why would they cut that diode? This protection diode over here has got to be good, right? Yeah, we're okay. Oh, relay fired up right away. So the LED indicator light has broken off and the preamp was working a second ago. We'll come back to the preamp. I'm not too concerned about that this second. But the relay is jumping. It's a moving. Okay. Yeah, buddy. Got a blown pill for sure. Just trying to latch. Hello. Both transistors are heating up. I never looked at the watt meter. Dumb me. Hello. Gotta have a pop pill. Okay, next step. Transistors come out. I'm telling you, this box is not worth repairing. The repair bill on it would be more than what the amplifier is worth by far. So, it's okay. I like the guy. He did me solid. I've heard nothing but good things about him. So we're going to do him a solid, right? That's how this world works. At least the last time I checked. Roger? So here we are this next day. Transistors tested fine. I put them back in. So, as you guys can see, the relay's out again. And it's because all the solder pads have been scrubbed off from the previous expert repair center that's been up in here. Expert. So I've gone through and so some of these pads are pass-throughs, okay? And they need to have their wires pop out on the correlating side with the solder pass-through pads have all been scrubbed off. Like this is your output lead. Your output power comes down this trace out of your output transformer. So it comes from here, passes through the board, then it's got its output tuning capacitor, then it runs down this trace and it comes back over to the relay. Well, where it's tied through the board, there's nothing that can physically make connection with the pin. The output power's got no place to go. Same thing with the input side. Input side is, see, it comes and goes through this trace, comes in here, okay? Well, there's nothing on this side for it to attach to. That's fine as long as it's making contact on the relay. Well, then that in turn switches to here. Come on, brain, you just had this all laid out in your head. Switches to here, it goes through this relay, okay? And then pops back out and goes to here. The preamp is being really weird. It's clicking on, clicking off, but then when I go to key the amplifier, it keys and acts like it's going to an infinite SWR. So that's why the relay is sitting there going click, 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 click. So next step is what's wrong with this preamp relay. That's where I've got to head next. I had to pull the relay off again to fix all the scrubbed off traces to hopefully make it so it makes connection and on and on. So when we come back, this thing will be back in the cabinet and we'll see if we can get it working. Give me a couple more hours though, because I want to make sure I got everything perfect, because I don't want to deal with this anymore. Yeah, we're getting really close here. So what we got going on is the on LED is now working. Preamp is working. We're using the 2950 here as our receive radio. Which tells me that we finally got the RF pathway coming in, going out, passing through. Everything's going in the right direction. So let's show you this. It's a 1,000 watt slug by amp peak. Hello, audio. That's radio drive. That's with the amplifier on, but it's not doing anything. So let's go over here. I'm going to manually move the relay with my fingertip. Hello. So the amp is working. Check it out. This is a huge deal because none of this was working before. Hello, 1, 2. Okay, so now the only thing I've got to get working correctly now, high, medium, and low is working. All that's working. I got to go and figure out why this transistor's not getting the signal to the relay to get the relay to fire. So let's disconnect that. And let's take this all apart one more time. One more time. I think we'll have it. I think we'll have it. Oh, shoot. Down to one little last detail. This box has taken 4.5 or 5 hours to take apart, put back together, take apart, put back, take apart, put back together. All over a bunch of bad solder joints. Okay. Okay, so that means it. Yep, switch is on hot. Okay. This has got to be another bad solder joint up here at the front. Let's resolder this back on. Let's see if we got LED on the front now. Cha-da, cha-da. Ah, sweet. Okay. It's fixed. It's fully fixed. At my reduced shop rate at about $50 an hour, this wasn't worth fixing, but because this dude is my friend, and he has been waiting a long time, well, this dude is a friend of mine. It's worth it. I'll put the energy in for this guy. So, let's go ahead, let's run it through its whole regime here. Let me switch sides of the camera here real quick. So now we are running on the 955. I'm going to show you some measurements here. Focus. Focus. There we go. 1,000 watt slug and peak, 1,000 in average, 5 watt slug in reverse, back from the bird, 10,000 watt dummy load. We're going to use our 2950 and a 5 watt slug showing our input reflect and pass through reflect between the 2950 and the Palomar Elite 250. When we came in here, we had no on-off indicator, no transmit indicator, the preamp didn't work. We could talk through it. The amplifier wasn't making any power. The relay was not keying. Yeah, well, you all know. So, with the amplifier off, about 20 watts of drive in it. Here's our pass-through going through the box. 1, 2, which is not horribly bad. So let's make sure we got the amp down on low, which we do. And we're on 12 volts, by the way. We'll ramp the voltage up and see what its max power is here in a minute, guys. So on low, we're making about 110 watts peak power, with 20 watts going in on 12 volts on low. 1, 2. Now let's go to medium. 1, 2, about 180-ish. Let's go to high. It's 100 swinging to 200, and that is with a, turn our 5 watt slug around and forward, a 1.5 watt carrier going in. So let's say people are smart and they're going to set their carrier at about 1 watt. Turn this back around, turn the amp on, put it on high. A 75 watt carrier, swinging to 200. So, here's our input tune. That's on high. On medium. On low. Not the greatest in the world, but still totally acceptable. Okay. So let's reach down here. Let's turn this puppy on. We'll set that at about 15.4. And let all of our super caps and everything charge up. Over here. Now let's rerun that series of tests with a little bit higher voltage. We know with higher voltage we're going to get more power out of it, right? Radio by itself. Audio. 20-25 watts. Okay, down on low. Hello. 200 watts on low. On medium. Hello. How about 275, 250, and then high. Hello. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Solid 300. Needless to say, we are done here with this old girl. Got some life breathed back into her now. And she's going to get to go back out in the world and keep running. So, the key-in transistor, done. Put it on the transistor checker and it says no component detected. So we put a new transistor in there, and then we also went ahead and the leg for the positive side, once again another extremely effed off pass-through for the relay. And what I mean effed off is the pass-through had been chewed up pretty good before it got here, so I went ahead and I slid the board back out one more time and went ahead and put a solid piece of wire and tied everything together on the board back into one piece. That's the corner that was stripped. So got it to grab, we're not going to over torque it. What you guys didn't get to witness is that about every time I took the board in and out, one of the wires would break off the face of the amplifier, hence the reason the transmit light wasn't working right. Some of these just take time. Some of these just take time and patience to just simply go through it and make the traces all be connected and everything. I was hoping that this would be easy, what I call a wire in two. Comes from when I was doing car stereo stuff, we call it a deck in two. It's where you replace the head unit deck, and then you put two front speakers in it. Because most people are too silly to realize their rear speakers are just as blown as their front, but they only hear their front ones for the most part, and they only want to get the front ones fixed. So it's called a deck in two. I call this a wire in two. Done. Well, Mr. J, Mr. G, you're done. Thank you for sending me Fred's box, and I'll probably put 60 or 70 bucks in cash in a little envelope and attach it to the top of the box when I send her back, because I don't want you to be out a single penny. I do recognize that you were doing me a solid, and I appreciate it, and I want to say thank you. Well, guys, I'm going to run. I'm going to go take care of some other stuff here. I got some other stuff I got to do. It is Monday morning. So, on that note, gentlemen, my name is BBI. Little Palomar Elite 250. Repaired, done, and done. And I want to say thank you. I appreciate everybody's support. Remember, if I have your piece of equipment here and you feel I've had it here for too long, I've been saying this at the end of every single video here, the last couple of them, don't hesitate to give me a call. I would more than gladly return it to you. If you can find a shop that wants to repair it, just give me a ring. No hard feelings, none whatsoever. You guys sent me too much work too fast, too quickly, and I'm going to do it when I take on work again here in about 4 or 5 months, maybe, it's a big maybe. We're going to do it completely differently. Oh yeah, by the way, we did power wire upgrade on the inside. Replaced the broke-ass junk power wires that were on here with nice, soft, oxygen-free Stinger, blah, 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 blah. The usual. So, on that note, I'm out of here, gentlemen. I appreciate you. I'm off to go work on some really cool stuff. I've got a couple more YouTube videos to go. Gentlemen, my name is BBI, without a shadow of a doubt. I'm the biggest mud duck in Idaho, and I don't know what that counts for anymore, but I'll see you. Bye.